Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday Purge Call. As I said, my name is Michelle Schaefer, Senior Consultant in AMBIT Energy. I want to thank you all so much for getting on this call tonight to prepare your upcoming AMBIT week. We believe that the silver bullet for this business is to have structure in your week where you spend 30 to 45 minutes a day doing the simple things we need to do. So have your top names ready, your calendars open, a pen and a piece of paper, so you can prepare your week right along with us. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our host. He is an executive in our business. He's been in AMBIT for about 6 years. He is a business owner and has been a very successful business owner for years. He's brought us a Purge Call in 3x4. He is a musician. He owns a music box company as well. He is a five-star trip earner. And he is what we call financially free, which I know is something that I am very much looking forward to. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my dear friend and mentor, Mr. Richard Laidler.
Hello there. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Fantastic. Well, I have to be quite honest. I'm ready for a nap. I just had some. My wife cooked me just the most fantastic Sunday roast, because in England we have like on Sundays we have a roasting, and we got some roast beef and roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings and Brussels sprouts and all of that, and it's just great. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm ready for a sit down. But I do have one last thing that goes along with it, which of course is a nice cup of tea. So hold on. Perfect cup of tea. How is everybody doing on this wonderful Sunday evening? Thank you very much for making it to the call, and congratulate yourselves, because you have a much better chance of having a great AMBIT week than those who are not on the call. Pure and simple. If you plan your week, you'll have a good week. If you don't plan your week, you're in severe danger of actually not doing anything in your business at all, or even if you do, it's because it's a last-minute thing and not necessarily done the best way possible. So as Michelle was saying, the purpose of this particular call is to help everybody start their week with everything planned. We don't do very much in AMBIT. We help a few people gather we gather a few customers, and we help other people do the same thing. Very easy to do right, very easy to do wrong, and very easy not to do at all, which is a little phrase I just thought of, but totally true. If you haven't got your week planned, there's a good chance your week will go by and you haven't done anything. So that's why we do what we do. We're not going to teach you anything you don't already know, because you already do it in your job. You turn up. And if you don't turn up, someone's going to pull you into their office, and if you do it often enough, you're not going to be turning up at all, because you're going to get fired. So why is your AMBIT business any different? On this call, the mantra we have is to treat your AMBIT business with the same respect as you would treat your job or indeed your education. Those of you who, I guarantee, I would say that probably 100% of you on the call graduated high school. I know some of you also have got a college degree. That's a lot more than gathering a couple of customers and helping a few people get a business started, and yet you all succeeded. And the reason why is not because those of you who graduated are all smarter than those who didn't, because pretty much everybody did. It's because you just turned up and you did what you needed to do. You did your homework, and if you didn't, someone had something to say about it. And that's what we do on this call. The principle of this call is it's still absolutely 100% the AMBIT system. Written list, invitation, presentation, validation, and to get a decision and get them started right. And that's the same across the board. All we have done is add structure, because without it, you're limiting your potential. I was going to say without it you'll fail, but that's not true, because you won't fail. You'll just drift towards success. The only way you can fail in this business is by quitting. Even if you do just little tiny bits, it's not organized, there's no structure, you will still have forward momentum. And hey, you might even get lucky and get someone in your business who actually does some work and builds your business for you, but the chances of that are pretty slim. So what we want to do is increase our odds as much as possible. The kind of the plan behind our business, everything is geared around a written list. I used to think that was kind of really boring to be thinking about a written list, but it's actually the itinerary for our business. Just like my restaurant has food to serve the customers, we have a written list to constantly have people to show the business to. We're not asking anybody to join. We're asking them just to take a look. And the more people who look, the more people will make a decision, you know what, this is something I'm looking for. So indeed, we don't even have to talk anybody into it. We just show enough people, and we'll find the 3 people who want to get in the business alongside us. And you saw in the business presentation as well as I did, 3 who get 3 times 7 levels is 11,000 a month when they all get 2 customers each, and that's plenty for everybody. So we have structure. We work around the principle of getting 3 people qualified in our business and teaching them to do the same thing. The way we do that is we start with a written list. Every Sunday, we pull down 10 names from that written list. We prepare with your upline, with your cross-line, with your accountability partner or whomsoever. You prepare the perfect invites for each one of those 10 people, and then you call or invite 2 of them a day, Monday through Friday. Real simple stuff. Doesn't take very long to do. It's a very simple process. And then just to make sure you do it, we put in there a little accountability call in the evening. So those of you who are on the call who are planning your week with me today, if you don't have an accountability partner, please do get one because they're kind of important. If you don't have an accountability partner, it's kind of too easy to not do it. If there wasn't the teacher waiting for the English homework, you probably wouldn't do it. If there was no boss looking at the clock at 9 o'clock in the morning to see if you're going to turn up, you might turn up at 10 or 12 or tomorrow. So the accountability partner is really important. Get one if you don't have one. I have one. I am the accountability partner for quite a few people. In fact, every one of my Sundays, just so you know, I'm practicing what I preach. Every one of my Sundays, I have 5 people call me, and for an hour, we prepare 10 invites for each of their 10 names that they pull down. So in my business, I know that next week 50 invites will be taking place. So for those of you who are RCs or SCs or ECs in the business who are listening in, it's a great way of knowing that there's real activity in your business. If you are the accountability partner to people you can select from your team who want to work with you, who want to actually be proactive and do some work with you, it's a great way of making sure your business is growing so you're not doing all the work yourself. Now, for those of you who are MCs and fairly new, obviously, you don't have a downline to work with yet, but learn this system well, and once you've found your 3, teach those 3 to do the same thing as you did, and then help them teach their 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that being said, written list, top 10 names, 2 invites a day, Monday through Friday, accountability call Monday through Friday, and then the second or the next Sunday we purge our list. So that being said, let's move to our wonderful, fantastic, lovely, gorgeous special guest. I've had a lot of fun this week. It's wonderful when you're working. In fact, I've been spoiled for the last couple of weeks because I've been working with people who have been a delight to work with, both of whom are extremely experienced in their own businesses as well as in AMBIT, but have been the most coachable people and been so vulnerable to everybody on the call. And I've been very, very lucky in the last. In fact, on most of our calls has been that way, but the last 2 have been particularly wonderful to work with. And this last week has been no different. So I'm going to bring on to the call senior consultant and now one of my best friends, Kristi Meck. Are you there, Kristi?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. Okay, good. Sorry about the technology.
That's okay.
Okay, good. I've got people texting in to me and saying they can hear us all, so that's great. Okay, so with that being said, this is your second week, Kristi.
Yes.
Obviously, we did everything that I was just saying. You have a good written list, I know you do, and last Sunday we worked with 10 names originally. I know you ended up by making 14 invites, which is wonderful for overachieving, and I know Dana is sitting there bar humbugging because I don't think he got to 14, but he had a great week. But Kristi, I think you pipped him at the post a little bit there for numbers of calls, and I'm not going to let everybody know how well you did yet because I'm going to let you do that. But as I said, we pulled down the top 10 names, we created the right invites for them, and then like a good girl all week, Monday through Friday, you made your calls and you were perfectly on time with the accountability calls during the week. and we had a good week. So I guess, first of all, Kristi, why don't you just tell us, kind of just an overview. How was your week, and how is it different than other AMBIT weeks that you've had?
Well, first of all, Richard, thank you for allowing me this opportunity. You said that it would be my best week ever, and it was one of my best weeks ever. And as far as my activity level, my excitement level, and my success in setting up appointments and showing the plan, and it is amazing how well the system works. And I have. Sorry, Dana, but I have 13 names set for next week already to call. Here's what happened. I had my 10 names, and then I would make these phone calls, and I would think, oh, I'm going to use that script for this person, and I would add another name to the list, a name that perhaps wasn't on my list, and that's how my list kept expanding. But I think that's okay. I just had a great week. I had a lot of fun. I was a little bit nervous, and but I was. Like the line in Into the Woods, I was excited and scared, but I did it anyway because I knew that I had to call you and tell you that I did it, and I wasn't about to not do it because just tell me I can't do something or I won't do something, and then I'll do it because that's just kind of how I roll. A little bit strong-willed.
Me too. I'm a great believer in negative motivation. Where someone says, you can't do that, or you won't do that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to show you. So no, I completely get that. Interesting. You were talking about being nervous. Obviously, you're highly skilled in what you do, and you haven't maybe necessarily been nervous prior to this, but I think the fact that we did the written list and we scored it using the Erica system, so the good names came to the top. So we had a lot of high caliber people you spoke to during the week, and I think what really helped with the nerves, and again, for those of you who are listening on the call, if you're nervous about talking to people, we can't necessarily take those nerves away, but we can increase the chances that you're going to be less nervous and that you're going to actually have a successful invite, and that is by creating the right invite, rather than just give them a call and winging it, that you actually create the right invite, and secondly, you write it down. Not that it's necessarily a script, but it's there for you as reference as you're talking to the individual on there. And so Kristi, would you say that was one of the things that helped you with your nerves?
Well, that's absolutely the thing that helped me, because obviously the people who rise to the top of your list are those on your chicken list. Well, I shouldn't say obviously. Those are the ones that rose to the top of my list, because it's easy for me to talk to people who are my peers intellectually or financially, successfully and wise in business, or people that I think, have not quite made it, people who, are a little bit broke and, maybe need the business a little more than I think, others would. But to talk to people who are highly successful in business, and people like Josie who already have 6 businesses of his own, that's a little intimidating. And it was extremely, I don't even want to say helpful, it was critical for me to have my script. And I'll call it a script because that's what it was. I wrote it out, I typed it out, I spoke it out. I stood in front of a mirror and spoke to myself so that I could, get my facial expressions and understand. And even when I was sitting in my car, I pulled my mirror down so I could see myself talking. And I know I'm a little strange about that, but my daughter takes acting lessons, and she's always watching herself because other people are watching you. So I want to make sure, I look pleasant as I'm talking to people. That was critical. This is a critical tool for me to be able to talk to anybody. And I kept telling myself, the worst thing that can happen is they say, no, thank you. That's the worst thing that can happen. And nobody said, no, thank you. Not one person said, no, thank you. Everyone I talked to said,
you actually hit the nail on the head with something there, and I know I'm going to resonate with a few people on the call when knee-jerk reaction, because we don't have necessarily anyone who's encouraging us to score our written list, or in the past, should I say. Obviously, we do now because of the purge call. But the temptation across the board is to go for people we think who need the business, or, who maybe have lost their job or who have a lot of pain. And, of course, we always have an eye open for that. But if always, and I know I was actually having a chat with Michelle about this the other day, is very often our knee-jerk reaction is to go for those folks who are of the same level as us, or maybe have less income than us, or maybe are constantly in and out of jobs. And those folks who maybe could lead in our teams and maybe even be better than we are, never get a shot because we won't talk to them because they're on our chicken list. And that's actually one of the side actions of what's happened in this. It certainly wasn't necessarily one of the goals. It's just one of those things that's happened, is that what's happening is now people are talking to people of a much higher caliber about getting into the business. And what's ironic is they're no more scary than anybody else. In reality, the prospect of calling them is, but in reality, the call, they're no more scary. They're no less likely to join. They're not necessarily more likely to join either. They're just no different. It's just that if they do, then there's a higher chance that there'll be someone who will not need as much coaching and babysitting as maybe someone who maybe needed the business more. And I'm trying to be delicate in the way I say that, but I think all of you on the call know what I'm saying. There are certain individuals that, they kind of in and out of jobs, whereas there are other folks out there who are VP of sales and have been in that business for 15 years and would absolutely rock this business, but we're too scared to talk to them. And so that's what's, as I say, a nice little byproduct of the fact that we can look at our list and the cream rises to the top, and you have to call them because your accountability call is forcing you to do it. But let's jump into. I'd like to very much talk about some of the people you spoke to during the week. So let's go through your people real quick. Just kind of give us a rundown of who you spoke to, the kind of approach you went, not necessarily the full invite, and what happened. And I'll shut up for a bit unless there's a coaching opportunity in there, and I may kind of cut in a little bit, but I'm going to try and let you speak through your whole week and how you spoke to each person, give an idea of the type of approach you made, whether it was you led with a why or you led with an opinion or it was a direct approach, something like that, and so we can get through all of the names and those who are listening in can get some real life experience of actually what happened. Okay.
I'll start at the top of my list, and they're sorted right now by date. So I talked to Doug. I used a direct approach with Doug, and just said that I appreciated how he runs his business, how responsive he is to, he takes care of ARBA offices, how responsive he is, how professional he is. To set up the appointment with Doug for last Wednesday. Doug looked at it, said it really makes sense. But not now for him, and told me he would send me a copy of his phone bill. I have followed up with Doug twice, but I'm going to wait till I see him in the hallway and say, hey, Doug, or just text him one more time. But Doug's on a 3-month follow-up.
Cool.
Okay?
So Doug was purged.
Doug was purged for 3 months.
Cool.
Ken, let me say one more thing. Because I didn't start making my phone calls till Monday evening, I did not get to, my first appointment wasn't set up until Wednesday. So I would encourage people to make their calls earlier in the day at least, or even if you've been on these calls, on these training calls, start making them on Saturday or Sunday, because then you get appointments set up earlier in the week if you're starting brand new. Okay. So Ken showed the business to Ken Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening. He said he really liked it. He was a 9 out of 10, which just said, is it really this simple? Yes. Ken went to Atlanta for the weekend, for a long weekend wedding for his nephew, and Ken and I are meeting together tomorrow afternoon to follow up.
What type of approach did you make with him, and what?
I'm sorry. Ken was more of I didn't know Ken very well. He's a vendor of ours also. So his was more of a business approach. And, I used actually a direct approach with Ken as well. And again, just stated how much I appreciated how he how professional he was in presenting his proposal to me, and and I wanted him, quite frankly, to take a look at what I was doing, because I really thought I really respected him as a businessman, and I was looking for business partners in this business to grow it. And so that's I'll tell you, I use the direct approach a lot. It just seems to work for me. Jillian was my one not success of the week. She's the one that I also used the direct approach with her and said I'd really like to take a look at it. She's the one that said she didn't want to spend the time to do it. We ended up setting up a 9 a.m. phone appointment, which she totally blew off, and told me she would text me later. I think I'm just gonna. I don't know what to do with Jillian right now. I don't want to chase her. I think maybe call her in a month or 3 months or something. But I'm not sure. Maybe you can counsel me on that one. But she.
Well, let's address that real quick. Real quick. Obviously, a lot of us have folks that are like Jillian. Jillian's a good person. She's busy. This is not a priority to her.
Right.
And so, you did a great invite. You did your job. It's much more of a priority to you than it is to her. And as AMBIT consultants, we just have to remember that. It is what it is. People, she's got her business. She has no idea what you're going to be talking about. And so I would default to the 4-call approach. I'm going to give you a call to just follow up. A second one to say, hey, I left you a message. So the first one is, hey, Kristi, I was just giving you a quick call. Something important I need to talk to you about. Oh no, we're actually following up on the. But I just wanted to follow up with you. Second one, if she didn't answer, I'd say, hey, Kristi, I left you a message, and need to just follow up with what's going on. Want to make sure that I'm professional. I follow up. Third call would be, Kristi, I've left you a couple of messages. Want to make sure that I follow up appropriately, and I'm a little concerned that I haven't heard back from you. I hope everything's okay. And then if she still doesn't call you back on the 4th call, I'd say, and I'm using her name rather than her name. I guess it could be, I'd say Jillian. I've been reaching out to you to make sure I could follow up with you. It's very important to me that I'm professional and I follow up appropriately with you, and I haven't heard back from you. Obviously, something's going on. Maybe you had to go out of town or on vacation or whatever. So this is the last time I'm going to call you about it. Just know that I am hoping to be able to speak to you. So I'd love you to be able to call me back and speak to you again soon. And thanks very much, and hang up. And here's the reason why is that there's a risk that we miss her, maybe, but she's stealing your power right now. The more she does this, not intentionally, she's not being mean. She's not thinking, oh, I'm just going to be mean to Kristi. She's just getting the power. The more she's doing it, because you're giving it to her. It's because, if you're constantly not you, one is giving it to her if we constantly chase, and you're depleting your good feeling about yourself and ruining the next invite that you do. And so I give it 4 goes. If she's not going to, if I'm not going to get in touch with her, I'm going to give it a good, strong 4 goes, and then I'm going to purge her, and I'm going to give her a call back, as you say, probably in a month or 2 months, if I haven't actually reached. If someone's looked at the business and said, no, it's not for me now, I'll probably wait for 3 to 6 months. But if it's someone who we've tried to reach through a 4-call process and I just can't reach them, then it could very well be that they're out of town, or that something's going on, or that there's an illness in the family or something. And so I don't want to leave that purge for too long. So it might be as short as a month. It might be as long as 3 months. But somewhere in between there, that's what I would do. But I would definitely get the power back. Very, very important that you do that.
Oh, that's good. So those 4 calls would be made in that same week, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So that we can purge them by the next week.
Yeah, so the first 2 calls are the first on the same day. The third call is the next day, and the 4th call is the next day after that. So it's all done within 3 days.
Okay. All right. So moving on to Josie. Josie was a very direct invitation and was a very successful presentation. And Josie, just that you were on that call with me afterwards, or you were the call with me afterwards. Josie is just not the right time right now, but he's very gracious, and he said yes, he will give me his bill from home. He will talk to their office manager at this office and let me also get me in touch with her about their commercial billing, and even said maybe my wife would want to do this as well. So I will follow up with Josie tomorrow and just get their bill, their electric bill, and see if his wife, if she wants to meet with you this week.
Let me just touch on that real quick, and I'm going to be super quick. He was absolutely he would be a great catch for sure. He has I think he had 6 businesses he's running now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is at no point because the invite was done properly. The invites are created in such a way that they're always professional. They're never needy, never pushy, never whiny, never judgmental. They're just merely an offer to take a look at something we're doing. We obviously talk about our why if we need to, but it's a good, solid, professional invitation. Also, your presentation was equally professional. We briefed about it just before the presentation, so you knew exactly what to do, and I know you already knew. And then during the 3-way call, at no point did I ever try to push him. I suggested he should have a business in one of his businesses be residual and recession-proof. I suggested that would be a professional thing to do for any businessman to have, because the businesses he had would be in trouble at any sign of any recession. Right. And I suggested that would be a good idea. But the point was the timing wasn't right. So I said, no problem. And it was done totally professionally. And I think because it was professional from start to finish, he was not in any way pressured or embarrassed or felt it was inappropriate. The possibility that his wife could be interested in the business was a consideration for him. He wasn't thinking, I'm going to throw my wife to the wolves. He was thinking, I could partner my wife with a great woman who presented this business to me, and this English chap who talked to me about the business, but in no way ever pressured me. So that's the reason why everything, the invite, the presentation, the 3-way, should never be pressured. We only need 3. We don't need to try and convince anyone. We just show them what they need to do. We address any concerns, and they're going to do it or they're not. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on that with you.
All right. I'm going to tell you about Tammy, because this was one of my favorites. Tammy is a very type A personality, very alpha, and I called her with a direct approach. I used I'm in a hurry, and then I, as you may or may not know, I'm a single mom. Went through about 2 more sentences, and I said, to be quite frank with you, Tammy, I'd like you to take a look at what I'm doing. And even before I could say, because I really respect you, I couldn't even say that, Tammy said, great, I'll take a look at it. I said, so I just stood up. And I said, okay, great. And we scheduled a time. She said, I'm here at my office between 7 and 9, and because I said, would Monday morning at 8:30 work for you, or would Wednesday morning be better? She said, I'm here at my office on Monday from 7 to 9. And I said, I'll be there at 8 o'clock. And she said, okay, see you then. And that was the invitation. I mean, I'm pretty sure that lasted less than a minute. But so that one was, and it's funny because that was the one that she's a little bit, her personality a little bit intimidates me. And so I just had to really kind of puff up, just put my shoulders back and puff up my chest a little bit and pretend, physically posture myself to call. I even stood up to call her, and less than a minute later, I had an appointment set up with her. So it just made me chuckle, because even before I went through the whole script, I'd like to see it.
Again, at the risk, and that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But again, another reason why having a structure like this is so good, because if the chicken list people are getting invited, very often you'll get that. Great, okay, come and see me. Let's go grab a coffee, because they're A-type personalities. Okay, let's go. There's not sometimes you'll get that. Sometimes you'll get hell no. Sorry, not interested. Don't do that type of thing. Unless you tell me what it is, I'm not going to see you. All right? Sometimes you'll get that. But that same type of person, if they're open like she was like, yeah, great, come show me. So again, another reason why I assist, because that call, again, may not have been made. You probably would have done, but someone else may not have made that call to Tammy because they were frightened of what was going to happen. But you knew, you'd already told me you were going to call Tammy, and if I didn't get a news of what was happening with Tammy, then the accountability call would have been kind of difficult. But so you had to do it, and you got done, and now you could have someone like her in your business who all of a sudden soars. Can you imagine someone like her?
I'm so excited.
Awesome.
I mean, yes. Can I imagine someone who sees this business like I see it and works is even more tenacious than I? Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome? That is just fantastic. Now, listen, there was, by the way, for those of you on the call, obviously we're not going into super amount of detail on who these people are and the invites. If you want to hear every single invite to these people, and trust me, you have not heard invites like these, listen into the accountability calls. They're all on the Facebook page. They take me a long time to put together. I don't do it just because I like doing it. I do it because they're so valuable. Everyone that Dana did the previous week and the one that Kristi has done are some of the best training you'll get for your AMBIT business because it's real. The fact that it's still a written list, invitation, presentation, validation is irrelevant. It's real stuff within that framework of this was the type of person, this was the type of invite, and now you're finding out what actually happened. So please go onto the Facebook page. They're set up in such a way you can listen to them on the phone, on the way to work or on the way back from work. They are great calls. And in fact, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit here, Kristi. There was one invite you did, which was recorded on one of those calls. I don't know if you have it in front of you there, but I think it was pretty much the kind of a consistent approach that you took for the whole week. Do you happen to have that there?
I have all my calls. Which one? I have a direct call. I have I feel your pain call. I have more of a I'm calling you about business call.
This was one where you said, hey, I'm in a little bit of a hurry. I've started this business because, and I have a business outside my current business. And I was really gushing about it I think it was on the Thursday call.
I think it was with Samantha. I feel your pain.
Very well. Do you have it there?
All right.
Can you read it to me?
I will. Hi, Samantha. I'm just getting ready to get on a conference call, but I've been meaning to give you a call. Do you have a minute? I know you and Dave have invested lots of time and energy into your business, and I'm glad it's going well for you. When I last saw you, you mentioned that it's starting to slow down a bit going into the cooler season. I've started a business project that's going really well for me in the DFW area. In fact, I've already promoted twice in the company, and I expect to be able to walk away from my job in the next 6 months. I want you and David to take a look at what I'm doing for a couple of reasons. First, it's the sort of thing that can work alongside of what you're currently doing. And second, it could very well help you create more time with your family. Now, it may or may not be your cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. And if it turns out it's not for you guys, I'm sure you are well connected in your industry now and could perhaps make some introductions for me. Are mornings better for you because of the kids? I could meet you tomorrow around 8:30 or Saturday between 10 and 12.
You see, now that's an invite. Guys, this is recorded so you can hear that again, and there are other invites like that. Kristi, that is masterful. I am literally in awe of you and Dana. You've so matured in this business just over 1 week, and just when I hear that invite, I get chills up my spine. It's perfect. It sounded totally. Now I know you're reading it right now, and it wouldn't have been quite so scripted when you were doing it on the phone, but you're reading it now because I threw you under the bus. But guys, that is a great invite, and the reason why it comes across so well is Kristi, she'd sit there, it would be written down, and she'd practice it. And when you have an invite of that quality, that's why I think Dana got 9 out of 10 opportunities to show the plan, and you've got 13 out of 14. Is that right?
I think so, yes. I'm counting them up here.
That's why, guys. That's why. is because we take the time. You know, it's so easy to go, oh, one invite, blast, blast, get through the numbers, and you'll find your 3 rock stars. No, you don't need to do that. When there is a business that offers a service rather than a product, and we're saving people money, we don't have to be secondhand car salesmen. You have to be a secondhand car salesman if you're selling a juice that's 3 times more expensive than you could buy in Walmart, or a makeup that you could buy at Ulta or Walgreens for a tenth of the price. That's when you have to be sharp and a boiler room type salesperson. When you're saving people money on a bill they're already paying, or you're offering them an opportunity to get out of that debt or that job or whatever, and you invite with that level of professionalism, you will have the same success that Kristi's having and Dana is having. So thank you for reading that out. That was just so awesome. And again, guys, the call is recorded. If you want to go back, I'll post it. It'll either be tonight or tomorrow morning, and write it down. Then I would do so. But she followed all the rules, being in a hurry, using a why, her why, and their why. She had a hook in there about being able to leave her job very soon. She took it away. It may or may not be your cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. And then she was very, very intentional. I love would morning be better for you because of the kids, to avoid the kids and stuff? Beautiful, intentional tying down the time. Guys, this is really, really good stuff. Okay, I'll stop gushing now.
Okay, well, no, thank you. I appreciate that. But honestly, all I did was go to the other accountability calls and to our purge call last week and just started typing up what you were helping me script out, and then, just refined it a little bit. Samantha said I have to check with my husband to see what his schedule is, and she's the one that ended up calling and saying, I don't, you have to tell me what it is before we'll sit down. So I said that she wanted to do her research, online research, and so I set up a 1:00 phone appointment with her for tomorrow so that I could show her the information and answer questions, and then she can do her research. So
let's talk about that as well. That was something I learned last week. This was genius. Was how there are 2 ways you can show. There are a number of different ways, but there are 2 main ways. You can show the people face to face, or you can show them a video. Can you remember and explain it in such a way how you turned the showing it by video as okay, you win, and it was just such a beautiful way of still being able to not tell her what the business was and still get her to look at the business. It just wasn't face-to-face, it was via the video. Could you just kind of cover how we did that? Guys, listen to this, because this is really, really good as to how to kind of say, okay, you win, I will give you the information when you're going to be by a computer. So go and tell us a little bit about that. Okay,
well, first of all, she did call me back the next morning. I was going to call her. Well, actually, I didn't call her back and left a message. She called me right back 5 minutes later, and she said, I talked to Dave, and, people are always trying to get us to show us these new businesses, and, there's just so much stuff out there, and I would really feel much more comfortable if I could just do some research on the company before I meet with you. And I said, I totally understand that, because there are a lot of businesses, a lot of opportunities out there. I said, but I would really love to just sit down and show you all the information, answer all of your questions, and then if you do your research after that, your due diligence after that. And she said, she goes, Kristi, honestly, I don't want to take the time to do that. I just want to look up the information myself, and then I'll get back to you. And I said, you know what? She goes, I have these very limited windows of time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 1 and 2 o'clock. And I said, great. I said, how about Monday at 1 o'clock? I said, will you be in front of a computer with uninterrupted time? And she said, yeah, if my baby takes a nap, I will be. I said, so let's, we'll just hope that happens. So at 1 o'clock on Monday, you'll be in front of your computer, and you will have at least 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. Yeah, I will. I said, great. I will call you at 1. I said, we'll look at some information, and I'm going to answer all, I'm going to get all of your questions answered. And I said, if after that, you want to continue to do due diligence, I said I completely encourage that and totally understand that. So I set the appointment for a 1 o'clock phone appointment with her.
When you told me that, I really thought.
Well, for a woman, they have their own business and they have 3 kids, I get that. She just wants to protect her time and guard her time. So, and I did say to her, I said, and quite honestly, Samantha, I said, if you feel and you or they feel this is something that you guys can do, I said, I just also want you to see how simple it is and the system that we have in place to help you grow your business. And she said, okay.
Lovely. But the thing that was so clever, was the fact that you were talking about getting in front of her. She says, I just don't have time. I want to do my research. And you said, okay. You kind of gave in and said, all right, well, when are you going to be by a computer? And she said, well, 1 o'clock. Okay, I'll give you a call at 1 o'clock, and I'll put the information in front of you on the computer. You can do your due diligence that way. So you got exactly the same presentation. It just happened to be her looking at the video on the phone rather than face-to-face. So it wasn't that you were just saying, oh, it's Ambit Energy, go look it up. You didn't do that at all. You didn't even tell her what it was. You said, okay, I'll make sure you get the information you need to do the due diligence. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. I love that. So when someone is pushing back a little bit and saying, well, tell me what it is, I need to do my due diligence first, and before you take them to a business presentation or get in face-to-face, say, okay, and kind of concede, all right, you win. All right, so when are you going to be by a computer so I can give you the URL so you can go and search all the information? Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I just love it. All right.
Well, you give me lots of credit. That wasn't. I mean, I just wanted to get her in front of the information. That's all. So anyway.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. Whether you were witting or not, it was just a great. I just love it. I think that is now is just now going to be a fallback for me. If for any reason I get pushback, well, tell me what it is. I'll say, okay, well, when are you going to be by a computer, and I'll get you all the information on the computer in front of you, and we don't have to get together, and you can have a look at it that way. You get the same thing anyway. I just think it's beautiful. I just think she still doesn't know it's Ambit. And it's great.
She doesn't.
It's great. No. All right. Okay. So we're at 8:44. How many more do you have there?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think. I'll lump them together.
Lump them together because I want to have 10 minutes with everybody before we finish to make sure we get everybody set up for the coming week. But this is good information.
Kay, Tommy, Jason, and Misty were all direct approaches, and by direct approach, I mean they knew me from the office. I talked about my role there, but also talked about mostly, getting close to retirement and starting a new project. And quite honestly, I just want you to, I would like you to take a look at it because I really respect you. And I know you work hard, and I need a partner to help me grow this business. Kay said to me, is that the energy thing? Apparently, I've already spoken to her about it, but she's meeting with me tomorrow evening at 6:30. Tommy is meeting with me tomorrow evening at 8. Jason is meeting with me Tuesday at noon, and Misty is meeting with me Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Awesome. And my friend Wendy, I already had coffee. Well, coffee was already kind of in the. We had already talked Sunday about having coffee, and while I was going through the script, she had texted me and said, "Hey," and we set up a time for coffee. So you and I decided that I'm going to go have coffee with her, and should the opportunity arise, or at the end of the conversation, bring up the business. And Tarsha scheduled with me for Saturday and texted me late Friday night and said, "Girl, I just got home. And quite honestly, I'd rather sleep an hour later tomorrow than meet with you. I really want to meet with you, but not tomorrow." So that's okay. I saw her at church today. She smiled, she laughed, and we're going to meet next Saturday instead. And let's see, Alan was a direct approach as well. I call him back tomorrow because he doesn't have his work schedule, but he will have it tomorrow morning. So I'm calling him back to schedule a time. So I had three appointments this week. I did the show the plan 3 times this week. Tomorrow I have 4, plus 1 more to set up the schedule. Tuesday I have 2 of them. Wednesday I have 2 more, and Saturday I have 1, and that's all from this past week. So I'm really very pleased.
That's phenomenal. Those numbers are pretty much unheard of, and all I can say is it happens consistently. Even when I go back as far as, say, Beth, for example, we had Beth on probably a few months ago now. We had the same level of success. And I think it is definitely, isn't it interesting that, when we do it this way, there's consistently, we're getting like a 95% success rate of people taking a look. Whether they join or not, again, there's nothing to do with us. They're going to join or they're not. We're going to answer concerns. We're going to get a good three-way call. But at the end of the day, we just want an opportunity for them to look. And we're getting like 90, 95% every single time. There's got to be a reason why that is. And yet I know that when people are not constructing their invites correctly or rushing it or messing it up, they're not getting anywhere near the same success, but also feel really horrible about themselves because they're getting feedback that's not pleasant, or they're not making the calls when they should do. They're getting dragged into a presentation on the call. If you do the setup right with this particular formula, I'm not saying it's the only one. It is just a good, solid formula that's nice and professional. Obviously, it works. Obviously, it works. So, all right. So I'll tell you what. Just for a minute or 2 minutes, what I'd really like is, first of all, so you've got 13 opportunities to show the plan out of 14 invites, which is awesome. So talk to the people who are on the call. Most of the people, I can see who most of the people are. Most of them are regulars on the call, but talk to them anyway about your week and about how you feel about your AMBIT business now you have something that has the same structure as your job or a business.
I keep saying excited, but I'm an excitable kind of person. I love this system. I love this track, and I love the success of it. And for me personally, I love the accountability of it and the discipline of it, because sometimes I am not a terribly disciplined person. I mean, we're disciplined in areas that we have to be, like you said, like our jobs, or when our kids need to be certain places or do certain things. Or when I was taking care of my mother, I was very disciplined to get up and do those things because it was important to me. And this has allowed me to develop that sort of discipline with my AMBIT business as well. And I literally can see, I did some numbers, ran the numbers. I'm not really a number cruncher, but I can see how within the next 6 months, I can literally walk away from my job with a significant income. And and here's the other thing, Richard. Yesterday, I had all these grand plans to clean my house and purge my house, so to speak. I was exhausted yesterday. I was exhausted. I slept half the day. I got up around 8:30 and had my cup of coffee, and I thought, I'm a little bit tired. I'm going to lay back down. I slept half the day, and I thought, because I started my day at 6:30 in the morning, and my day didn't end some nights until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I realized that's what top money earners do. They fill their day with the things that are productive, the things they have to do. I mean, at this point, I still am, obviously going to my job, but tomorrow I have an 8 a.m. appointment, a 1 p.m. phone appointment, a 6:30 p.m. face-to-face appointment, and an 8 p.m. face-to-face appointment. That's one day. That just thrills me to death. That just thrills me to death that I can set that kind of schedule. And I didn't sign in. Nobody signed up last week, but 3 people looked at the business, and one of them said, yes, as soon as I get back, I want, let's get started. And, of course, the other one was Josie, who I know at some point is going to get started. Just really very sure about that, whether it's 3 months or 6 months or 2 years down the road.
Well, here's a rhetorical question. Is how many weeks of 13 opportunities to show the plan do you need to find 3 people who are going to work with you? Not very many.
Not very many.
Get your 3 just from the, no, exactly.
Exactly. That's what I said.
As long as you can, exactly, isn't it? You see, you're not frightened of hard work. Everybody I can see in this call, no one's frightened of hard work. Everybody on here will do what they need. They just want to know what to do. Just tell me what to do. I'll do the work. And if you've got the opportunity to show the plan 13 times, you'll find your 3 very, very quickly. Now what you have to be able to do, Kristi, is stay plugged into these calls so that you can teach your new people to do the same thing. That is now going to be where it will fall down if you don't duplicate. It's all very well being a rock star and doing it yourself, but you now need to be able to teach your people. But the great thing is, all you need to do is plug them into this call, and I'll do it for you. Every Sunday, I'm doing this, and I'll do it for you. So for those of you, again, who are on the call who have downline, plug them into this call. Some are not going to do it. I understand that they're going to. We're talking about the people. You know, the numbers are as follows. 85% of people currently quit AMBIT. 50% of people are quitters, right? Who just quit anything they do. So somewhere between 50% and 85% are a bunch of people who are not quitters. They just want to know what to do. So I'm talking about those people in your business. Now, the other 15% at the top, they're going to work anyway. They're going to do what they do. But we're talking to those people who have quit this business who never should have done. And the only reason why they did was they just didn't know what to do. So that's where your next learning is going to be. And it's not hard. It's just say, hey, call into the Purge call. But for you to be able to teach it to your team, Kristi, that's what you've got to be able to do.
Right. And I'm excited, and I can, and I will, because it works. And it's fun. I can totally see myself doing this full time, not indefinitely, but full time going forward. I can see myself completely pouring myself into this business and helping others build the business the same way. And that's really exciting. That's really always been my dream. So that's very exciting.
Absolutely. But as long as you know what to do, then it's really easy to do that. But what's really interesting is not only were you accountable to me last week, but I had to be accountable because I had to be there. So, for example, my 5 people that I'm working with in my team right now, I have 5 hours on Sunday with each one of them pulling down their top 10 names, creating the perfect invites. And so I know that they know what to do for the following week, but I've got to be there and available for each one of them for 2 hours while we're doing accountability calls during the week. Do you think that keeps me accountable as well? It's awesome. So for even those of you who are, who are more upline, the RCs, SCs, and ECs, this is a great way of making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing too. Because I can be a little naughty and be a little bit lazy, but I couldn't today. I had 5 people who were expecting me to be there for a whole hour.
Wow.
All right. Well, Kristi, I'm going to let you go. I really appreciate it. I've had a great week, and I'm going to miss you. We had a fantastic time.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll see me around.
You know what? I think I might. But thank you so much for all the work. Guys, listen to her accountability calls during the week. They were really, really good. But, Kristi, thank you so much for being available this week. I've had a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing your success as you kind of move on. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Richard.
Hey, no problem. All right, guys. We've got a couple of minutes, just real quick. So you've heard what you need to be doing for your week. Whether you're upline, whether you're a brand new MC, please have a solid written list. If you're looking at your written list and there's 12 names on there, go to your power zone or go with your upline and work on getting that to at least 30, 40, 50 names and keep building it until you get to 100 names. I remember when Michelle a couple of weeks ago was talking about all you need to do is add 2 names a day, and a year that's 500 names. So keep building your written list and then follow this system, whether you're upline or downline from each other or crossline. Please build your written list, pull your top 10 names down, assign 2 invites a day, get on an accountability call with your accountability partner, and just keep doing it week after week after week. And I promise you, you cannot fail but find your 3. Then, as I was just saying to Kristi, please duplicate what you have learned. And all you need to do, if you're not sure exactly what to do, is have them get on this call, and they'll get all the coaching they need. In addition to that, if you want to get even more in-depth training. Michelle, on the beginning of the call, was talking about a big training event on November the 5th. All the details are on the EC Riders Facebook page. It's in DFW. Sorry for those of you who are not in DFW, but I have been asked to go up to some of the other trainings in the Northeast, so I'm hoping to be up there soon as well. But I'm also going to see what I can do about making this available online as well, so that you can see how to do the training and how to coach other people. But that's on November the 5th, as I say. All the details are on the EC Riders Facebook page. Got a lot of great trainers. Our special guest actually is going to be National Consultant Henry Yee. He's one of those people, everybody knows his name and what he looks like, but they've never heard him speak. The guy is awesome. He's one of the most unbelievable trainers. He's just fantastic. So please make sure you get to that training. You'll really be missing out if you don't. Over and above that, we're at 8:58 right now. We've got our EC Riders team call on Wednesday. We have a special guest. I believe it's Executive Consultant Rosella Salazar, one of the very successful part of a couple, Rosella and Manny. She's, again, she's a great one for you women to listen into. Very empowering, very humble, very feminine, just totally lovely. So definitely be on that call for those of you who are not on your own team calls. And then after this call, of course, we've got the not the Sunday Purge call, we've got the national call with Brian McClure. I'm just looking for my notes real quick. The number to get on that call is, where are we? It is 712-432-7570. 712-432-7570. And the PIN is 84877 pounds. Again, 84877 pounds. And I believe that Brian is going to be speaking on that call. So you've had a great call today, learning the structure for the week. Now listening to Brian and have him get you prepared for a great week next week. Guys, thank you for getting on the call. Have a fantastic week next week. I'll speak for those of you who are on the team call on Wednesday. I'll see you on there. But if not, I will see you on the next Sunday Purge call next Sunday. Thanks again, everybody. And I will speak to you all very soon. And have a great Sunday night. Bye-bye now.